What's up, guys? Welcome to the World of Wrestling show. I'm your host, and I got the background music playing. I'm not sure why. Let me go ahead and turn that off for you guys. Let's figure this out. Hey, guys, I'm still new to this live stream stuff, so here we go. All right, guys, back to the World of Wrestling show. I'm your host, Jake Randy, and tonight we're going to talk WWE Monday Night Raw. What do you guys think of tonight? Did you enjoy it? By the way, I'm still trying to set up my new setup, so I got the camera here for now. The problem is my computer's over here. I have a dual monitor setup right here, and I got my notes over here of what happened on Monday Night Raw, because it's pretty impossible to remember everything that happens in a 3-hour show with the very detailed notes. So I got my notes over here, but the problem is the camera's over here, so I'm hoping I can get like a tripod or something to eventually put over here. But in the meantime, this is the setup I'm gonna have to deal with. Let me see, make sure we are live. Let me make sure. Are we live? Yes, we are live. Awesome. All right, guys, let's get into Monday Night Raw tonight. What do you guys think? Let me know, as always, in the chat. I want to know what you guys are thinking. Let's get into what you guys thought. I mean, any of you guys awake? Did any of you fall asleep during the whole Goldust versus Cena match, or Rhino versus Bray Wyatt? There's a lot of boring stuff that went down tonight. But let's jump right into it. Let's go very top of the notes. Starting off the show, we see Kurt Angle, who starts off the night. He comes out pretty pissed off from what happened last week that ended the show. That terrible shot that Triple H gave him to end the show off, right? So he comes out. He just comes out to the rings. You know, no jokes, nothing. Takes off his blazer and says, "You know what, Triple H, I'm calling you out. I want to see you in the ring." Instead, he gets Stephanie McMahon, and Stephanie McMahon comes out, and she tells him that what Triple H did last week was simply to get revenge, or to get even with what Kurt Angle did when he screwed up the Ronda Rousey contract signing at Elimination Chamber. Then we see Ronda Rousey interrupt Stephanie McMahon's promo, and she comes out all smiling and giving everyone high fives throughout the crowd, literally the whole front row. She went all the way around. I saw a lot of people on Twitter upset about that, that she was very happy and smiling. You know, you can tell Ronda's still kind of nervous, as she just started in the WWE, so you know, you can't blame her for still trying to get used to the whole different atmosphere between the UFC, which is like a real sports competing company, and the WWE, which is more, you know, sports entertainment, you know, as they say, or as Vince says it. So, you know, you can tell she's pretty nervous as she's out there. She's very nervous in the ring too, very like jittery, I guess you'd say. It kind of gets exciting, you know. Tonight started off pretty exciting. We saw Ronda Rousey, who came out there, and we saw Stephanie sort of cut this promo saying, wait, let me think back. I'm kind of getting confused here. What happened tonight? Ronda Rousey says she wants. Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, so Ronda Rousey comes out and she says a part of her contract, inside the contract, it's mentioned that she is guaranteed a WrestleMania match. Stephanie McMahon makes sure to clarify that it mentions that it can be a WrestleMania match as long as it's not against a current champion, and as long as it's against a current active member of the roster. So then we see Ronda Rousey say, "I'm going to tell you who my opponent is." So Stephanie McMahon tries to build it up, say, "Let's get a drum roll." Before they can even start the drum roll, you know, Ronda Rousey's like, "I want you." So she challenges Stephanie McMahon. You know what? I don't know why I don't have this dual monitor set up. Let me put the live stream over here. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm trying to get the live stream over here, so that way if any of you guys comment, I can actually see that. Set it up over here. There we go. All right, guys, so now I can see if y'all comment right here. Okay, yeah, anyways, we see Ronda Rousey. She challenges Stephanie McMahon to a WrestleMania match, as predicted by many. Of course, Triple H, his music hits. He comes out and says Stephanie McMahon is not an active member of the roster, and she can't compete against Ronda Rousey because she's not an active member of the roster. So then Kurt automatically denies that claim by saying Stephanie McMahon has 2 contracts, one that's like the commissioner or something like that of the WWE, and then one that makes her an active WWE superstar. WWE logic, I guess. Not sure with the whole contract thing. Like, they got to make up some way so that this match can happen, I guess, at WrestleMania. As predicted, Kurt Angle goes on to say, I make the matches, which is kind of weird. I know I saw a lot of people on Twitter saying that it's a little awkward because Triple H and Stephanie McMahon are higher power than Kurt Angle, so isn't it a little weird that he makes this match and they have no way of denying it, Anyways, we see Kurt make this match. He says, at WrestleMania, if you don't mind Ronda, it's going to be Ronda Rousey and Kurt Angle versus Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. Like I said, very predictable. This was predicted all over the internet. I guess this kind of gets or debunks all the rumors between The Rock stating that The Rock was possibly going to make a comeback to tag with Ronda Rousey. So it's official, right? Kurt Angle and Ronda Rousey versus Stephanie McMahon and Triple H. They still got like 3 weeks, I think, to build up towards this. So they have plenty of time. I'm not sure what they're going to do in the future. We saw after this, Triple H attempt to attack Kurt Angle and try to give him a cheap shot again. That turned into a quick brawl between Triple H and Kurt Angle. They're going back and forth. Kurt tries to get Triple H in the ankle lock. Triple H sort of reverses that. I think Stephanie McMahon eventually gets a cheap shot on Ronda Rousey, and then she realizes she messed up, and Ronda Rousey gives her that face. And guys, Ronda Rousey has the perfect like upset face. Many people have said this, but she's just missing her promo, her charismatic work, I guess you'd say. She's missing a good promo, and she's missing maybe a manager. Maybe she's missing Paul Heyman. Maybe that's what she needs, somebody like Paul Heyman to manage her and do all the talking for her, because her her pissed off look and her serious attitude, it looks great. I think that's one of the best things about her right now. So she gives Stephanie McMahon that look, and Stephanie McMahon she runs. I think she just runs. She gets out of the ring for a while. Kurt ends up putting the ankle lock on Triple H. Stephanie McMahon comes back to help pull out her husband, Triple H. And as Stephanie McMahon's helping him out, Ronda Rousey grabs Stephanie McMahon by the hair, pulls her back in the ring, and she sort of, I guess, gives her, this could be her finishing move. She does a Samoan drop. Looked pretty good. It was okay. Wasn't the greatest Samoan drop, but some people said it was better than a couple other people on the roster. I don't know what you guys think. It looked a little sloppy to me, but anyways, that could be your finisher. I'm not sure if that is. I feel like we're building up to a WrestleMania spot or an ending. This could possibly be the finish where they're probably going to put a submission hold where Kurt's going to have the ankle lock on Triple H, and Ronda's going to have a submission hold on Stephanie. I could imagine that happening at Mania. That could possibly be the finish. So a cool kind of start. It kind of gave me an old school Monday Night Raw feeling. Decent start, I would say. I don't know what you guys thought about it. Then we go to the next segment, is actually a match between Nia Jax and Asuka. I didn't get it here. There was a second I didn't watch the TV, so I might have missed out. I'm not sure if this match was another chance for Nia Jax to get included into the WrestleMania match, which I have an interesting thought, guys. I'm going to get to that in a second. I'll let you guys know what that is, but anyways, so I'm not sure if this match was Nia Jax. I know it was Nia Jax versus Asuka, but was it for Nia to get an opportunity to be added into the title match at Mania? I don't know, but anyways, it didn't matter because we see Asuka put Nia Jax in an armbar, and the match is pretty slow. The whole match is pretty slow, but it leads up to an armbar that Asuka puts on Nia Jax, and she's got this armbar on her for like over a minute or 2 minutes as Nia Jax is trying to break out of it, and Asuka just holds on to the armbar, and eventually Nia is forced to tap out. We see Nia in the ring, and she's like crying, or she's upset, very emotional. We kind of get the camera staying on her even though the match ends. Even like this is usually where we would see a commercial break or cut to another backstage segment, but them showing Nia in the ring like that after the match kind of signifies maybe a face turn or something, especially as we get to the Alexa and Nia backstage segment, which we'll get to in a bit. But face turn for Nia Jax, maybe. I I don't know. Is what's gonna happen at Mania? Are we gonna see what is Nia Jax gonna do for WrestleMania? I got an interesting thought on that. We're gonna get to that once we get to the Alexa and Nia Jax backstage segment. But before that, I was gonna mention the two different things I noticed about Milwaukee crowd tonight is they were loud for the beginning segment when we saw Ronda Rousey in the ring with Stephanie, Triple H, and Kurt Angle. They were loud. I think you saw the yes chants and everything. But once we got to Nia and Asuka, the crowd was dead. So I guess it kind of shows you like how a crowd can sound dead silent in certain segments of Monday Night Raw, and then sometimes they're loud and they're out there, man. They're speaking, they're having a voice out there. So maybe they just weren't there for Nia and Asuka. They weren't interested in the match. Then we see the Revival. They don't get an entrance. We go to commercial break, right? They come back from the commercial break, and we see them in the middle of the ring. So them getting no entrance is definitely not a good sign for them. What's going on with the Revival? Who knows, right? We saw the Revival they both got injured. I forget who got injured first. One of them got injured. One of them was like their jaw, and the other one might have been like a torn bicep or something. Might be wrong on that. But we see this match between the Revival versus the Bar. And if the Bar win, or no, not if the Bar wins, if the Revival wins, they get a tag team title opportunity against the Bar at WrestleMania. So to me, this is a pretty weird way. I honestly thought that the Revival versus the Bar at Mania was going to be a thing, because when last week on Raw they had Cesaro and Sheamus cut that promo after that match they had, and they said they had beaten everybody on Monday Night Raw. There was nobody for them to compete against. I instantly thought the Revival. The Revival's a team they haven't beat yet. But I mean, they kind of ruined that tonight, because we saw the Bar defeat the Revival in a match where the Revival, if they had won, they would get a WrestleMania opportunity for the tag team title. So what does that mean for the Revival, man? Are they buried? Are they gone? Is that it for the Revival? Let me know what you guys thought about that. I thought it was kind of interesting. Pretty sad, man. It looks like we won't see the Revival at WrestleMania. Then again, I'm probably wrong. We'll see him in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royale, right, in the pre-show. Then we get to Cena promo. It was pretty odd, right? He's on Monday Night Raw now again after he went to SmackDown, and he earned himself an opportunity for Fastlane. Maybe WWE's way of trying to get viewers to watch Fastlane, because more people tune into Monday Night Raw than they do SmackDown Live. So they had Cena come out tonight and cut a promo saying that he knows the dream match is Shinsuke Nakamura versus AJ Styles, but he's here to inform everyone that he's there to ruin that, and he's gonna win the championship at Fastlane in that fatal 5-way. And he's going to insert himself into WrestleMania. That's his road to WrestleMania, right? That's his whole storyline of Cena, how John Cena is going to get to WrestleMania. And he states that what I insist is AJ Styles, once you lose to me at Fastlane, that you use your rematch clause. And at WrestleMania, we see Shinsuke versus AJ Styles versus Cena in a triple threat match. What do you guys think about that? If that was to really happen and Cena wins his 17th title at Fastlane, and then we get Cena versus Styles versus Shinsuke at WrestleMania, does that ruin the dream match between Styles and Shinsuke? Does that make it better? What do you guys think about that? Let me know your thoughts. I want to know your guys' thoughts. We also see, this is pretty odd. We see Goldust suddenly interrupt Cena, and out of everybody backstage, Goldust comes out. He starts cutting some like odd promo about being a director and a filmmaker. Goldust being the bizarre one, and eventually he just sucker punches Cena, and then we go to a commercial break again. Monday Night Raw full of commercials. That's how it is every week. A 3-hour show with probably an hour of commercials. We see Goldust versus Cena. I'm not sure how many of you tuned into that. I didn't watch exactly the whole match. I kind of got distracted. I'm pretty sure it wasn't one of the greatest performances. Eventually, we saw the 5 moves of doom. Cena finished him off. Whatever. Just pointless segment, man. Meaningless segment. I'm not sure what for. You know what I mean? Like, Is this supposed to make Cena look strong going into Fastlane? If that's what they were intending to, I'm not sure they got that across to many fans. If anything, they bored the hell out of everyone. So then that's that segment. Then we get to another backstage segment between Kurt and Elias. And this is basically just Kurt or Elias trying to speak to Kurt, trying to get his match canceled that is scheduled for tonight. Symphony of Destruction match between Braun Strowman and Elias. Every time they said Symphony of Destruction, man, I couldn't stop but think of that song by who's it, Megadeth, I think it is, Symphony of Destruction. Isn't that copyright or something? Like, I wonder if they had to pay them to say that. Probably not. I don't think it is. But anyways, Kurt eventually tells Elias, "I'll think about it." And then he says, "I thought about it. I'm not changing the match. The match still stands. And a matter of fact, it's a Falls Count Anywhere match now because last week on Raw you ran away from Strowman." So then that match is scheduled for later tonight. Hillbilly Jim will be inducted into the 2018 Hall of Fame. You know, not in my era of wrestling. Maybe some of you older wrestling fans lived through the era of Hillbilly Jim, and but as I know from watching on the WWE Network some old WWE footage, he's a great entertainer, and it should be a good thing that he's going into the Hall of Fame. We have Bayley, who's gonna have this match against Mandy Rose, and before the match she's interviewed by Dasha Fuentes in the ring. She's asked why she did what she did to Sasha Banks last week when Sasha attempted to tag her during the match, and she dropped down from the apron and kind of left Sasha on her own. Before she can even answer that, Absolution comes out, and they have Paige on the mic sort of mock her, say that, you know, Bayley finally standing up for herself, you know, not needing Sasha to change her diapers, as Paige says. Then we see Bayley versus Mandy Rose. Decent match. The one thing I learned out of this is that Mandy Rose is getting better in the ring compared to her Tough Enough days, you know, when she first started, when she was on that whole Tough Enough season. Man, what a bad show that was. No wonders why it didn't last more than the first season. Tough Enough, man, it's never been ever good. The winners never actually end up anywhere special when they win. But yeah, that was one thing I learned, is that Mandy Rose is getting better in the ring, and I could imagine in the future, I could imagine Mandy Rose getting a big push after this whole like Absolution thing going on, because she just seems like someone special that like Vince would like, you know. There's been rumors that, I mean, not rumors, there's been a lot of talk about Mandy Rose kind of having some similarities like Trish, and I'm sure that backstage that's a huge thing to them, and for someone to have some similarities like Trish, they're probably going to want to take advantage of that and kind of give her a push. Eventually, once like Alexa drops it or Asuka's not a huge thing anymore, I just feel like, you know, they'll do something with Mandy Rose eventually. She has a great running knee. I love the way she performs that move. She's got a decent finisher. Anyways, we see she loses tonight, so it wasn't that big of a match. I'm just saying things that I think that are going to happen in the future. Bayley wins by roll-up. She pins Mandy Rose. Then immediately they start attacking her. The whole Absolution starts jumping on Bayley. We get Sasha Banks comes in to save her. Let me think what happened. What else happened? Sasha saves her. Oh, right. And then we get this like whole stare down type of thing between Sasha and Bayley, where it's like, do we trust each other? You know, Sasha tries to go in for the hug on Bayley. Bayley says no. She walks out the ring. This is building towards a WrestleMania match, you know, between the two. That's what I thought. But now I'm starting to think, is this going to turn into a Bayley and Sasha versus Absolution at WrestleMania 34? And then we're going to possibly see one of those like WrestleMania moments where Sasha finally turns on Bayley on WrestleMania night. Like maybe they win the match, or maybe they don't even win the match. You know, kind of like I'm trying to think like you know, when Big Show turned on Orton, and I think it was Sheamus back in WrestleMania. Man, what was the year? I forget the year. Maybe it was like 28, maybe, I don't know, 29. One of those WrestleManias where they're against the Shield. Could we see something like that? I don't know, maybe, because I just don't know what they're gonna do with Absolution heading towards Mania. I feel like they're trying to put all the women on the card, and you know, if there's one way they're gonna do that, maybe that's what they'll do. I thought this would be Bayley versus Sasha at Mania, and it still could be. It's possible that that is the match, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. We go to a backstage segment. This is the segment I was talking about. We see Alexa Bliss and Nia Jax backstage. Nia is still very emotional after her loss, and Alexa does not make it any better by telling Nia she knows she's upset that she lost that Elimination Chamber, and then she lost tonight, and then she started like just kind of body shaming her about you know, saying, for example, when they're in the airport and people look at Nia weird, it's because they're thinking of her size, that she's bigger than everyone else, and she kind of starts body shaming her, but like as if she's trying to support her, but at the same time body shaming her. So my thoughts going into this, I've heard a couple of speculation and people on Twitter and just around the wrestling community talking about, what if Asuka isn't actually challenging Alexa, because we haven't heard a word, and I don't even know if we've seen like the images. You know, they've been showing images of like, you know, tonight they showed Kurt Angle and Ronda Rousey versus Triple H and Stephanie. They actually showed the WrestleMania image, and then we also saw Roman and Brock. They showed those images. I don't think they've showed Alexa and Asuka on an image like that. I might be thinking too much into it. As a hardcore wrestling fan, that's what we do. We think too much into detail. But what if Asuka eventually speaks up and says, I never challenged Alexa, I'm coming after Charlotte? Because I don't know if we've even heard Asuka, tell me if I'm wrong, but I don't remember Asuka ever saying like, I challenged Alexa. It's kind of just been all speculation, like, well, Asuka's chosen Alexa Bliss and she's going to defend, or Alexa Bliss is going to defend against Asuka, and they've kind of been building towards that. But what if Asuka actually goes after Charlotte on SmackDown, and then we see this whole Alexa and Nia angle turn into Nia going face, and Alexa versus Nia at Mania? What do you guys think of that? You think that's a possibility? I don't know. I just, maybe I'm thinking too much about it, but they're turning Nia face. They sort of had Alexa support her tonight backstage, but it kind of seemed like she was body shaming her in a way, like, you know, like kind of in a heel way. I don't know. Let me know what you guys are thinking on that. One thing I gotta say is I'm a huge fan of Alexa Bliss, and the one thing I know about, like, if anyone knows anything about Alexa Bliss, is that she has a history of a how do I say it? What is it? Like a I'm trying to think of the right word to describe it. Man, what is it called? She was just very negative towards her body, and she had not a mental disorder, but maybe it is a mental disorder. I'm trying to think. Like when she was younger, she had an eating disorder. Man, I can't believe I couldn't think of that. I just went brain dead. But yeah, okay. So as Alexa Bliss was growing up, and she was like in high school and stuff, she had this eating disorder, and she felt like she was too big, or, you know, she didn't like her size and the way she was built, and she was just very negative. She had this eating disorder that like almost took her life away, and it you know, just I know it's kind of odd I'm saying this, but like relating to tonight's backstage segment, I felt like Alexa Bliss almost didn't want to like say all the things they had her say tonight, like on the script, because I'm sure that her saying that to Nia, just about the whole body shaming thing, as much as it came from her saying it because of her history, that, you know, that's kind of a personal issue between the two, of Nia having body issues and then Alexa having those issues where that almost took her life away twice in her life in her past, and how she's always fought against that. And she said in the past that once you have eating disorder, you know, it always affects you throughout your life. You can never get rid of it. You just got to work through it. So I don't know, that was just something I was thinking about during that segment. Like, I kind of felt the tone in her voice was like she was actually hurt by this, and yeah, it was just interesting. Anyways, we get to Elias, who performs before his Symphony of Destruction match with Braun Strowman. And man, I gotta say, dude, Elias is very talented, man. This guy's getting more and more over with the crowd. I hope they kind of push him eventually going towards Mania. I don't see much like coming for him and Strowman. it almost just seems like they might have an all-out brawl at Mania. You know, kind of like one year where we saw JBL and Finley have this hardcore brawl to start off WrestleMania. I forget what Mania that was, but something similar like that. I could see something like that going down, because that's all we've seen from Elias and Strowman is just them going at it with these hardcore style matches. We had Elias play the piano tonight, and then we had him play the drums, and then we had him play his acoustic guitar. And I think between each instrument, they had the lights go off and on as he went from instrument to instrument. So the fourth time they had the lights go off, and then they turned back on, and Elias was heading for the door, trying to escape the arena from having this match with Strowman. He runs to the arena, to the parking lot, gets inside a car, and this whole segment's like goofy. You know, this is like WWE goofiness, and kind of reminded me of back then, like 2002 era, or maybe before that. You know how like they had the whole Austin gets ran over segment, stuff like that. You know, they've been doing that a lot with Strowman. They had him flip the car, they had him throw Michael Cole, they had him drop that huge thing on Kane and Brock. You know, there's just like over the top, almost humorous. It's almost like, you know, this is coming from Vince, and he's actually liking the humor that comes from behind Strowman, and he loves just these segments. He loves putting them on because we're seeing more and more out of this. Just like tonight, we had Elias try to either reverse or hit the acceleration and get out of there, but for some reason the car is not moving. They cut to the back of the car, and you see Strowman holding the car back. You know, some really just like goofy stuff where, you know, like it's over the top humor. So then, you know, Elias just gets out the car. He runs to the back inside the arena. Strowman goes running after him. We have this quick match, a Symphony of Destruction match, where basically it's just Strowman dominating, and he hits him with that huge instrument again. And then we see Strowman throw the piano on top of him, and then he pins him. That's it for that. Funny kind of segment, but in the end, what are we getting out of this? Is this leading to a WrestleMania feud? At first, I thought maybe this would lead to Strowman and Elias somehow getting involved in the Intercontinental title match between The Miz, Finn Balor, and Seth Rollins. But I don't know. Maybe they're not doing that. I guess we'll see. We got like 3-4 weeks till Mania. We'll see what they do. Then they announced that whole greatest Royal Rumble ever. I read about this earlier today. I don't know what you guys think about it. I want to know your guys' thoughts about that whole. What is this? Is this happening in Saudi Arabia? That's where it's happening. Saudi Arabia. They're gonna have this huge 50-man Royal Rumble. I don't even know if it's gonna have any meaning to it though, because especially if it's not on the network. I don't know if this is actually gonna be like a thing where if whoever wins gets a title opportunity, or is this just gonna be some like live show thing that we never see? It's going to be a network special, kind of like the Beast in the East. Are we going to see something like that? I don't know, but interesting thing came up about that. I want to know your guys' thoughts. Speaking on the topic of rumors, this was exploding throughout WWE during Monday Night Raw, man. Apparently sexual harassment of Jonathan Coachman on a former ESPN employee was just like bursting throughout the internet, man, of rumors that he sexually harassed someone over there. So, man, during this time, this is a terrible time for Coachman to have any claim of sexual harassment. You know, it just seems like these sexual harassment claims are going everywhere, man, all over the media. And I think there's like what is it, the Me Too movement? I think that's what it's called. I could be wrong, but that's been spreading all over the internet. That's terrible, man. He just came in like a month ago. This guy, even if it's false allegations, we could see him gone from the WWE like as soon as next week or before. You know, I don't know what this is what this means for Coachman, but this just all started exploding like in the middle of Monday Night Raw while it was going on. So terrible, man. If these are actual true claims, man, terrible. Then we get to another just sleeper match, man. We see Bray Wyatt versus Rhino. I think we saw Bray Wyatt versus Rhino and Heath Slater last week. So a meaningless match yet again on Monday Night Raw. Another sleeper match. None of this mattered. What mattered was the segment after, where Woken Hardy came out on the Titantron once again, and he said, I challenged Bray Wyatt to a Hardy compound match, kind of like the final deletion between Jeff Hardy and Matt Hardy that we saw in TNA. It seems like that's going to happen. I think he said it was going to go down at WrestleMania. He challenges him at WrestleMania for that. Even though it's not taking place at WrestleMania, it's going to take place at the Hardy compound, and it's probably just going to be pre-taped. Well, it will be pre-taped, just like the House of Horrors match. Hopefully it's just not as bad as that. I don't know how to feel about that. Like, how is that going to go? I mean, especially if it's in the middle of WrestleMania, I doubt they'll do that, but WrestleMania is this huge show with 1,000 attendants, and you're saying that they're just going to be looking at a Titantron watching this match? Like, they're not actually going to be physically seeing this match in the ring. So I'm not sure how that's going to happen. And maybe they're going to put this on the pre-show while everyone's going into the building. This is sort of happening to start off WrestleMania. I don't know. Maybe that makes sense. But Bray and this whole Woken Hardy thing, I feel like it's kind of turning into a huge failure. They haven't been given much time for their segments, and they haven't been given, I think, much thought. And I feel like Hardy isn't getting as much creation opportunities as he did in TNA with this whole broken gimmick, because it's not as exciting as it was in TNA. And they can't recreate what they did in TNA. I feel like what's done is done. It's not a good thing anyways to do the whole copy and paste thing. We've seen it. They shouldn't just do the same thing. It should be more original. But man, what it was like months ago where people were waiting for this to come to the WWE, where they're like, oh yes, can't wait to see the broken gimmick in WWE. It's gonna happen. And it took months and months and months until we finally saw, after the whole lawsuit that happened between Hardy and TNA Wrestling, whatever they're called now. I think they've changed their name, like, once again, if they're even still a business, whatever's left of TNA. But yeah, so I mean, maybe a little too late. Maybe the fans got tired of it already. Maybe just when it came to the WWE, it was such a big build up that it didn't live up to its expectations. People built it up too much to be this great thing, and now it turns out that, I don't know, I just feel like nobody's really interested in it. It kind of got a big pop whenever he said the Hardy compound tonight. It kind of got a big pop by the crowd, but I don't know. We'll see heading towards Mania what they do with that. Then we get to the Miz, who hosts the Mizzies after the Oscars last night. I didn't get to watch this. But he hosts like a parody of the Oscars, sort of, in a way. Eventually, it leads to Seth Rollins interrupting The Miz. Gets in a few words before Finn Balor interrupts him. This sets up a match between The Miz, Taraj, versus Finn Balor and Seth Rollins. And, during this match, we sort of get that cliche WWE moment where Finn Balor taps himself in, and then Seth's like, what are you doing? They take out The Miz. They still get the win, but I think Finn's in the ring. He's setting up for the coup de grace, and then we see Seth tag himself in, and he gives, I forgot who was even in the ring. He gives someone the curb stomp, I believe. Whatever they're calling it now. I don't think they call it the curb stomp anymore, matter of fact. I think they changed the name to that, but let me guys know if you know the name. Yeah, so we see that, and then we get to Kurt coming out, right? I believe. Yeah, Finn and Seth win, and then we see Kurt Angle come out tonight, right after the match, and he says, Miz, it's time to announce your WrestleMania match, and it's not going to be against Seth. It's not going to be against Finn. It's going to be against both of them, right? So he says it's going to be a triple threat. Again, another WrestleMania match that was predicted. It's becoming a pretty predictable WrestleMania setup in a way. It just kind of seems like they're building up WrestleMania. Like, I get that Survivor Series feel, where they're like, where weeks before Survivor Series, they weren't building it up, but once that month towards Survivor Series comes, all of a sudden it's like this brand war supremacy, where like they're like, which brand's more has more power over the other. And then you saw SmackDown invading them all of a sudden just to build up towards Survivor Series. It seems like we're getting all these matches just thrown together for WrestleMania all in late notice. Like, WWE isn't doing so well when it comes to long-term booking. You know what I mean? Like Bayley and Sasha, I mean that's a feud that sort of has long-term booking, because we've been waiting for Sasha to turn on Bayley, and we still haven't even seen it. I'm trying to think of more long-term booking. I know Lesnar and Reigns is sort of like a long-term booking, but very predictable. I mean, everyone predicted that this was gonna come to WrestleMania. It's been predicted over a year. So speaking of Lesnar and Reigns, we see Paul Heyman end the Monday Night Raw sort of in a way by coming out and being as great as he is on the mic, setting up this WrestleMania feud. He comes out there and he sort of does his own style of shoot promo, where he says, if Brock wants me to come out on Monday Night Raw after Mania, or I think he said like SummerSlam. I'm not sure why he said SummerSlam. I think he said SummerSlam. He said, if Brock wants me to come to WWE on SummerSlam and lay down in the middle of the ring the WWE Championship and the UFC Championship, then I'll do just that. He says Roman Reigns came out tonight last week, and he cut a promo on Brock saying or accusing him of his schedule and all that stuff. I'm trying to remember exactly everything tonight. Tonight's been a little bit of a blur. Very sleepy Monday Night Raw. He eventually says if Roman wants to say anything to Brock Lesnar, he can say it to him next week on Monday Night Raw when Brock Lesnar is actually there. Another week of Brock Lesnar not being there. Not exactly the best way to build up a WrestleMania feud, but they're trying to build it up with Paul Heyman being there, and Roman Reigns comes out, cuts Paul Heyman off eventually. He stares at him in the ring. He eventually goes on to call Brock Lesnar a bitch again, and he tells Paul Heyman, if Lesnar wants to say anything to my face next week on Monday Night Raw, he can do that, but Brock Lesnar better be prepared to come for a fight. And that's their way of hyping up Monday Night Raw next week. That's it. That's Monday Night Raw. What did you guys think of Monday Night Raw? Did y'all watch Monday Night Raw? Did you guys not even watch Raw? Did you guys enjoy Monday Night Raw? Maybe some of you guys actually enjoyed Monday Night Raw. I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know what you guys think. Not much else for me to say. I actually had images that I usually post up on live stream, but I got so distracted tonight with a lot of other things, and I didn't get to do that. But I hope you guys still enjoyed tonight's Raw review, even though I'm still getting used to the whole setup, the whole live streaming. I've only started 2 weeks ago, so I've only done 2 Monday Night Raw reviews, a couple of SmackDowns. So I guess I'm pretty much done here, guys. I don't know what else there is to say. Monday Night Raw, like I said, was a sleeper show. Let me know in the comments what you would rate Monday Night Raw out of 5 stars or out of 10 stars. What would you give Monday Night Raw? To me, it's another one of those maybe 2 stars out of 5, or 1.5 if I'm being nice. I don't know. Monday Night Raw not living up to one of the greatest shows. I don't know. WWE kind of slacking on their booking, and we're heading towards WrestleMania season. Do you think it would start getting more interesting? Maybe I'm too picky of a fan. Maybe I'm too hardcore of a wrestling fan who was very picky. Let me guys know. I want to know your thoughts. Even if you guys disagree, let me know. I just want to know. That's it for me, guys. I'm going to get out of here soon. Thank you guys for watching and supporting me. For those who supported, who have subscribed recently, I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys, subscribe. We got Monday Raw review. We got Tuesday SmackDown review. On Saturdays, you can find me and my co-host Nate as we go through our show called Showstoppers, where we talk WWE rumors, news, and predictions. Sunday, occasionally when there's a pay-per-view. This Sunday, I'll have a review there because Fastlane takes place this Sunday. I'll be reviewing Fastlane. Hopefully that's a good show. Let me know what you guys thought. Like I said, can't think of anything else. Thanks guys for watching. I will see you guys tomorrow night for SmackDown. Hopefully I see some of you guys. I know SmackDown's usually a dead night. Monday Night Raw is one of the more interesting nights. But hopefully SmackDown has a good go-home show for Fastlane. Alright guys, I'm getting up out of here. Thanks for watching the World of Wrestling show. I'm your host, Jake Randy. See you guys next time.